At a time when Manipur has seen conflict for more than 22 months, there are things which has escalated at times beyond the state, and there are several problems that are ongoing on. We are joined by spokesperson of Kuki Welfare Association Guwahati, and we're going to discuss not just the violence aspect of Manipur but all the problems surrounding the state from him with him. And secondly, we are also going to discuss a very important issue which has come up, which is the celebration of a festival in Guwahati, and which has led to a little bit of controversy. We'll get to know from his perspective what he thinks about it and how to go forward and bring a solution to the issue of Manipur. First of all, thank you, sir, for joining us. Can you please give us your introduction?
Well, I represent the Kuki Welfare Association Guwahati, and of course it's a pleasure to be here and then share my thoughts on whatever queries you want to ask.
So, sir, let's first address the elephant in the room. We are getting to know that the TSA, Thadou Students Association, led by Ngamjahao Kipgen, he has told us, I have spoken to him as well, stating that they are going to do a festival in Guwahati, Thadou Festival, Thadou Festival, firstly, and he's saying that he's trying to do that celebration to festival as to celebrate the Thadou community. But we are seeing that several criticism and coming from the Kuki community regarding the festival. So, what is your take on that, sir?
Well, India is a democratic country, so everyone is free to celebrate, do whatever they want. But given this, if I understand correctly, the festival you mentioned, perhaps you are talking about the Hun festival.
Yeah.
Which is by and large, celebrated by the Thadou community.
Right.
And I think this comes into existence in the past few years, which was celebrated or originated, of course, from in Manipur. But then there are a lot of reservations, whether it's from the Kuki in Assam or maybe the Thadou in Assam. And of course, they have this press release, which of course
These are the press releases taken out by the Kuki INP and the Thadou INP and the Thadou Tribe Council. Now, sir, please explain to us the significance of these statements coming in from these organizations.
Well, the two statements earlier by Kuki in Assam and Thadou in Assam are from, the vernacular language. So it sort of, try to highlight that, of course, a festival is important, no doubt. But then maybe the time and space is not, adequate, because we can see that, even after 22 months of the conflict back in Manipur, people are still languishing in the relief camp, and then thousands of people are still displaced. So therefore, what they are basically trying to say is that it is not the right time to engage in such forms of festivities, whatever. And given that the Thadou Tribe Council, I think they come with a press clarification mentioning that if at all, maybe because the Hun, ideally, for those who are not aware about what Hun celebration or Hun festival is, it is basically a ritual in the pre-Christian days, when the people engage in such rituals in the pre-monsoon, the pre-sowing seeds of their farming kick-started. So basically, maybe it's sort of an intention to reinvent tradition, or maybe sort of asserting some kind of identity.
Right.
So let's not go into the politics of celebrating those and that.
Right.
But my point is that since we here are based in the Guwahati, the Kuki Welfare, our concerns are mostly to engage in looking about the plights of the Kuki community. And we all know that the oath 22 months or so, since we do not have access to medical facilities in Imphal, and also the connectivity is really pathetic. And for people who are in Lamka, they have that accessible to Aizawl and then to Guwahati or whatsoever. So now the past almost 2 years, what we do here in Guwahati by the welfare is to take care of people who are in need of medical care.
Yeah.
And the Kuki student organizations, mostly the youngsters out here, are volunteering day in
They are
and day
trying
out.
to help those people who might have had to come out of Manipur due to the conflict and are
And at the
for
same
different
time,
reasons.
whenever they are in need of some
Right,
blood or
right.
anything, like they have been doing that
Right.
very religiously.
Sir,
Okay.
wha-
And then on the one hand, the welfare is also looking after those people in terms of admitting them, taking care in the
Okay.
hospital,
Yeah.
and then whenever they need money, we provided them like through crowdfunding and all.
Okay.
Because we are helpless, because we don't have any financial
Right.
support from any
So
source.
basically what you're trying to say here is that at a time when people are facing adversity,
Right.
why is the need to do the celebration in Guwahati, right, sir?
Yeah, I mean, if at all, maybe if they think that things are back to normalcy, since I said that this the Hun festival has its origin in Manipur, so they
Right.
can do in Manipur if they want to,
Right.
whether in the Kangbukpi area or maybe Lamka. If they find that the political atmosphere or law and order is feasible, then
Right.
they can do it.
Right.
And I don't really find it necessary to do here in Guwahati or Assam or whatever. And then if at all the Hun festival is celebrated by the Thadou community, I think the numbers, the population is also very insignificant. And then I somehow sense that it could be because given the press release by the Thadou Tribe Council or wherever, they try to disown, and they don't have this knowledge about this kind of celebration. So, to my mind, I feel that it could be the handiwork of few individuals of some vested interests
Yeah.
who want to gain some mileage, political mileage or whatever, any kind of media attention.
Sir,
So frankly, I think the Kuki welfare here do not really we have a reservation, and then we do not have any
Right.
kind of
Right.
support to whatsoever.
Sir, what we are trying to learn here for our viewers as well, that certain clarity needs to come. Firstly, when I visited Manipur and I visited the hill districts of Kangpokpi and Churchanpur, I observed that people have stated that we are cookies, it's under an umbrella, different groups are there, right, sir? But when I spoke to TSA people and when I spoke to Michael, I'm directly telling you, they have stated that Thadou is an exclusion from the Kuki identity. Thadous are different. They are a different identity. We do not resonate to cookies. All these statements have been made. For a viewer who is trying to understand what is happening in Manipur, so far we know that Kuki is one group and which is facing problems from the other side, from the valley side. But when such statements are made, sir, how do we understand and from the point of view of these statements?
See, the point of one individual may not necessarily, have or represent the whole community. And as you rightly said, within the Kuki nomenclature, Kuki is as a nomenclature. It's not a tribe or anything, right? So within this, there are tribes like Thadou, Gangte, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Now one may say that I am a Thadou and then I do not subscribe to Kuki. So it is up to him. It's up to the individual to say so. But given that I have my tribe certificate belongs to a Thadou Kuki, so then I subscribe to Kuki. So it's up to my
It's a
belief,
personal thing you
and
want
then
to
it's my based on my belief.
Yeah.
Or to the extent of how I view this broader identity or nomenclature.
Right.
So by saying so, if one individual says that the Thadous are not a Kuki, then perhaps where were they when in the initial phases of when this conflict was there? So perhaps by distancing or trying to dissuade from the Kuki nomenclature, if that is the case, then perhaps the people who subscribe to this Thadou community may have been spared from this conflict.
Right.
I mean, if the intention was really well and good at that point of time. But then when whatever things has to happen happened, and now of late when somebody is saying that Thadous are not part of this conflict, it is a conflict between Kuki and Meiteis only, I think it's very nonsensical, and then it's absurd. It does not make
So
sense.
why this is important is because we have spoken to a lot of sides as far as this issue is concerned. We have spoken to Mr. Kipgen as well. What he's trying to say here is that the claims made by the TSA and so organizations regarding the Kuki nomenclatures, wherein they are saying that they are separate from those Kuki identity. He has stated that if that would have been the case, then where would they have been spared during the violence, right? What he's trying to say. Secondly, sir, before I jump to a different issue which we talked about the relief camp issue, I want to ask you last question about this issue is that there are allegations made that the Kuki nomenclature or the umbrella that we talked about, under whom lot of tribes, lot of groups are there, it has been used as a political ideology. Do you think these statements are justified at a time when we are seeing violence and a lot of people are suffering?
As I said, I think these are very, I'm sorry to say that, but it is very untimely. And if you are least bothered about people who are suffering, languishing in the relief camp, and then the humanitarian crisis is really huge, and then rather than highlighting all this issue, on the one hand, you want to celebrate such kinds of a festival just to portray that like things are back to normalcy. I think you are committing a crime, I should say. I mean, for those people who really want to engage in such form, and it is not really a platform to engage in such forms of portraying that we are no longer into conflicts. And I think these are something which is happening because there is lack of humanity.
Okay.
Right, because
Why so, sir?
Why so? Because such forms of individuals who do not have the pain and can't feel the pain and sufferings of their own people, I think this is very inhuman actually. So only I think people who have that the inhuman character, or that the cruelty within, who does not feel the sentiment or the pain of their own people, can only engage in such forms of activity.
Okay.
Or busy with rather.
Right. So, sir, at a time when we are seeing that a lot of IDPs are languishing in relief camps in Manipur, also in Mizoram, and some of them have to also go out of Manipur and different states such as Assam, Delhi, or other part of the country. What has been your understanding of the issue? What do you think will be the best solution as far as the current situation is ongoing? How do you see going forward? What would be the best option for those people who had to suffer in this situation?
See, the sufferings are enormous, and then we also know that people have been leaving their own homes, and then many, I am sure many of us of them must be yearning to go back also. Especially all the localities within Imphal are completely lying vacant, and there's no chances of them to even visit their home. So, and then we are also informed that I think many of the houses are being gutted and then bulldozed, and then it is no longer into existence. I really don't know about the political roadmap whatsoever. Of course, there are many organizations or platforms like the Kuki councils or various other who are in the constant.
They are pushing for a separate administration, sir.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps that's the only choice at this point of time. And then recently the Supreme Court judges also visited, and then Justice Guwahati has mentioned that some constitutional arrangement perhaps is the only solution. And then by then I do believe that when he says constitutional arrangement, maybe he's also taking seriously about the demands of the Kuki Council in the forms of separate administration. So I think that would be the only way of or a long-lasting peaceful solution.
When we talk
about peace, cannot be bulldozed or imposed. As you can see that the free movement or that peace things, that was being imposed, and then you could see the ramifications. And then there's a lot of protest and resentment from the other end.
So when I was in Kangpokpi during the protests regarding the free movement, I saw a lot of resentment among the public regarding the free movement from Valley to Kangpokpi and other areas of the hills. They have also demanded the separate administration, which I myself saw from my own eyes. The people were demanding separate administration, and however, there are two things that we need you to clarify on this. Firstly, is that it is said that the entire issue has been used to go for a political demand. Firstly, the entire violence has been used, and these are the claims which has been made. Secondly, they are saying that the Kuki identity or the Kuki nomenclature we talked about has been used, and this ideology has been used for separatist movement. Do you agree to these claims made, and if not, then how do you respond, sir?
See, this separate administration demand is not something which was there in the past. Okay, this is something which comes up the post May 2023. And then this
for our audience, what he's trying to say is post May 2023 means it's that May 2nd and May 3rd where the violence in Manipur escalated. Sir, continue.
Yeah. So it is only this post May 3rd 23. Then after a few months, maybe the 10 legislative assembly members, they said that we want to, because maybe they have seen every bits and pieces, and says that the only way out is to have a separate administration. Now I totally disagree to those people who says that the Kuki is using these certain forms of politics as as a separatist or whatever. It is not, because for the past almost 10 years or so, many of these armed insurgents group within the Kuki Zo communities, they are within the fold of the Kuki National Organization and the UPF, these two umbrella organizations, and they have been in the suspension operations. They have been in ceasefire agreement. They have been constantly having a political dialogue with the Ministry of Home Affairs, including the state government. It's a tripartite kind of thing.
Right.
So political demands are nothing new. It has been going on.
Right.
But the only thing is that the modalities of how this solution or political solution would come up might have been different earlier. And then, as I said, this separate administration is something which comes up after the post May.
Right.
So even earlier,
So it is a consequence of the violence, you mean to say?
partly, and maybe as I had listened to one of the interview of this Dr. Salin, the KNO spokesperson, what he said was, earlier it was in the forms of territorial council, the pre-May, but in post-May, there is nothing doing, and it is really impossible to contend with the earlier agreement. Now the only thing negotiable is in the forms of union territory.
Right. Last question, what is your appeal through our forum so that peace and normalcy can come back to your region?
See, I for one would always day in and day out wish and pray that normalcy should come back, because I am from academic background and I know the plights of the students who are enrolled in the Manipur University and different colleges, and then nobody really highlights about this issue, because almost 2 years, 2 years, 2 academic sessions has lapsed, and then many of them have either discontinued or maybe are struggling to find admissions here and there. And then I also in my capacity help out in whichever I can. So therefore this so-called normalcy or peace, whatever we are talking about, we really need to focus on the human side first, and then slowly the whatever political or other forms of solutions will takes in place.
Right. So we just spoke with the spokesperson of the Kuki Welfare Association in Guwahati, and in our candid conversation he raised a lot of issues. Firstly, about the controversy surrounding the Thadou Festival, and secondly the roadmap for Manipur as well as for this region, so that peace and normalcy can come back. We also talked about how students have suffered in this conflict and their education has been hampered, and all of these are very crucial issues because it's been more than 22 months where Manipur, the state, has suffered. All the regions, all the districts, all the gullies, all the nakas have been impacted, the common lives have been impacted, and this continues even though the state is under president's rule. Lot of issues are still there. Medical health facilities are at a very stretch, and that is the reason it is very important to talk about Manipur and also involve in discussions with all the stakeholders of Manipur, be it Kuki, Meitei, Naga, and to understand their hardships and their grievances amid the prevailing situation. With video journalist Nishan, this is Nibir reporting for NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.